Joining us right now, a member of the House Appropriations Committee, Congressman Chuck Fleischmann of Tennessee. Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
What do you see in terms of this market sell-off? What are the implications here from your standpoint?
Well, obviously, I think we've seen unprecedented highs in the stock market. The economy is doing well. Unemployment is low. People have more money in their pockets because of the tax cuts. I've never seen fundamentals look so good in a long time. Now, we have to be cognizant that the stock market is a market, and there is speculation, people invest and the like. I think one of the things with the economy doing so well across the board is some people may look for other places to put their money in addition to the stock market. So I think we need to be positive. I think we need to work together. And I think as legislators, we need to provide a very conducive environment for business to continue to do well, and I think we're doing that.
I guess what I was asking is, you know, Alan Greenspan, John, you know this, used to talk a lot about the wealth effect. And this market is up $8 trillion since the election. Well, now, obviously, $4.5 trillion since the election. But that wealth effect, are there implications in terms of economic growth as a result of this sell-off? That's my question.
Well, I mean, I think as long as this market settles down, and it looks like it will, then the wealth effect is still in there, because we're still talking about net gains for most people on their 401k plans, and we're still talking about companies on net seeing their share prices up and being more optimistic about investing and spending money.
Right. Well, and also 90% of workers in this country this month seeing higher wages because of the tax cuts. So it's not just the stock market, but it's also they have real cash on hand because of what Congress has done.
Yeah, and it's great, Congressman. I mean, you did a good job on the tax plan. We're waiting to see the implications of it, because we know that people have more money in their pockets. But you've got another issue on your hands with this short-term measure today to fund the government.
Yes.
Through March 23rd, avert another shutdown while funding the Defense Department for a full year. I mean, how do you justify living from, you know, one resolution to the next, one continuing resolution to the next?
Well, as a House appropriator, as you know, last year we passed all 12 House appropriation bills. We did our job, and we want to get back to what we would colloquially call regular order. In other words, the House and the Senate appropriations committees doing their job, passing budgets, and getting it done. Unfortunately, we're in an environment, largely due to the Senate rules, where they need 60 to get something done. We saw the Schumer shutdown, which I thought was detrimental. It was short, thank goodness. But it's not easy to get things done right now in Washington, D.C. So we just have to continue to work hard. On part of the House Republicans and the House appropriators, such as myself, we're doing our job. We're going to do it again this year, and we're just going to stay at it. And we just hope that other people who serve, other legislators in both parties and in both bodies, do their job.
Congressman, two questions for you. First of all, on the budget, will the House this year pass a budget resolution and a budget? Second of all, one of the reasons the stock market is falling now is because long-term interest rates are going up. One of the reasons long-term interest rates are going up, it seems, is that we're looking at budget deficits that are going to exceed $1 trillion in another year or two. What are Republicans in Congress going to do about trillion-dollar budget deficits?
Well, I think fundamentally we need to look long-term at mandatory spending issues. We're seeing the effects, the ill effects of the Budget Control Act, which has really squeezed discretionary spending, hurt defense, and hurt other domestic spending. But the real problem is that we've seen the dollars available on the discretionary side of the budget equation continue to shrink, and that's going to happen unless we address this in a larger sense.
So what are you going to do to address it?
Well, I think we need to have everyone from the administration, the Senate, the House, Republicans and Democrats actually look to fiscal reform. I think a balanced budget amendment, which actually I had the privilege of voting for, would be a step in the right direction. Let's face it, I come from a state, the great state of Tennessee, that has a constitutional amendment in its state constitution to balance its budget. We have no debt in Tennessee. If you look at some other states that don't have that in their constitutions, they're never going to get out of their red ink.
How would you balance it? What would you cut? You just said you don't want to cut discretionary spending, so what would you cut?
We have to reform. I'd rather use the term reform. When we look at the whole picture, we have to see where we're spending our dollars. That's on the mandatory side of the equation.
So Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Well, talk about interest on the national debt. We're talking about interest rates, pressure on interest rates to go up, and I do think you'll see interest rates go up. When you are borrowing, when you're $20 trillion in debt, if you were a borrower and interest rates go up, that's not good. That's not good if you're an individual borrower. That's not good if you're a country that's borrowing. And let's face it, we're at a time where other countries like China are buying up our national debt.
Right.
That's not good.
That's a point you've made umpteen times, Dagan, in terms of the interest.
Yeah, but Congress, what do you do to control the actual interest rate that's paid on the debt? That's a market unless you're telegraphing to the Federal Reserve that you want the Federal Reserve
that
to try
rate is rising now because debt is going up so much.
Right.
Well, the cost of debt's actually selling off the price.
But the cost of debt, that's right.
The interest on the national debt in a few years is going to surpass what we spend on defense every year. Just that.
Exactly.
80% of the growth in spending is entitlements and the interest on the debt over the next decade. So to that point, when is anybody going to have the gumption to step up and say, okay, it's time to get our arms around entitlements? And really, you're going to have to, at some point, cut what people receive from the federal government in terms of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And Republicans couldn't do it with just Medicaid last year.
I'd rather, again, use the term reform. We never want to scare our seniors. People 55 and over will be safe, and they ought to be safe. But we've got to look at the long-term prospects for our country. Also, the numbers are not good. We have baby boomers, people my age and older, who are going on the rolls of Social Security and Medicare every day, and they need to be protected. We don't need to engage in a game of political scare. Right now, we're in a very tumultuous time politically, a game of one-upsmanship. So we need to sit down and come up with good ideas. We should have done this on health care. Obamacare was a budget buster because most of that spending was where? On the mandatory side of the spending equation.
It doesn't sound like you want to go there on Social Security, Medicare. Like that's something you want to talk about actually reforming or cutting.
Or after the midterm elections, probably. Are you going to cut these mandatory things during an election year? I don't think so.
When isn't it volatile politically? Because you guys are up for
election every 2 years.
You guys are up for re-election every 2 years. So there's always that hot potato, that football, if you will.
Well, let's look at things that we can all agree on. If we have growth, and I think we're going to have growth from this tax cut, we're going to see the economy grow. So that's going to be good for everyone. Employers are hiring. Unemployment is at an all-time low. We're going to see people with more money. If people have jobs and are spending, we're going to see a healthier economy and things will go better that way. So you'll have more dollars actually feeding those kiddies that need to be fed. If people are unemployed and if we've gone through the Great Recession that we did starting in 2008 and they're not feeding these programs in terms with the revenue, there's going to be a problem. So growth is going to be a key term factor in this as well as spending reforms.
All right, so growth is the priority right now. We got it. Congressman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Great to be with you.
Chuck Fleischmann joining us.